Check 1, 2. We are back. You are now listening to Something Else. Something Else is a sonic gallery and podcast that explores the process and lives of today's word workers and cultural creators. Hosted by me, Def Sound, live from Dub Lab. And this episode, we are doing a deep dive into it with educator, designer, researcher, deep researcher, slow researcher, and philosophical writer, Jason E.C. Wright, a.k.a. the Neil deGrasse Tyson of this rap ting. What up, Jason?
What's happening? That was fantastic. that made me smile.
I'm really glad to have you here.
Very happy to be here.
And I want to intro the bio, right? Okay. So the people know. Jason E.C. Wright, Indiana born, educator, designer, writer of all kinds, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been exploring the themes of critical thinking and cultural reverence in design, in speculative fiction, and the human experience. And so you have that 20-year plus experience. So we've been in the game for a minute.
It's been a long time
spanning
many things.
Oh yeah, spanning hip hop, spoken word, fashion, industry, retail, production. I saw this meme the other day that said Polymath or just black.
I mean, there's a lot of relevancy to that.
Right. But continue on with the bio. So Jason, you founded the Burntsienna Research Society in 2018, and an artbook, which is an artbook reference library and slow research institute. So you're bridging the gap between knowing and doing. Burntsienna has facilitated programming and research offsites at ARCANA Books, at the Black Image Center, the Huntington, the Line Hotel, Meadow, RIVIAN, all of that. Soho Warehouse. We can go deeper in the bag. There's a lot. So as an educator, you've instructed at FIDM and at OTIS, moderator for AIGA, the LA Design Festival, and MOCA, and so much more. But yeah, we gonna let that simmer with the people real quick, and there's so much that we have to get into, Jason, and you know that. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna let the IBEN keys wash over, and we'll come right back, and you'll bring us together with a acapella, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. Big bet. You're listening to Something Else.
They say pride before the fall, or love conquers all, but only if it bounces off the wall. I had to stall at Pride Rock like Sarabi, outwitting on my scars, left hyenas laughing through the door ajar. Ajafar and magic carpet out. Stressing the concessions I've been lost about, assassinating creed and color walkabouts. I desert sand spin until I'm in the wind, an alchemist. Left of center caravans, a merry brand of calculus. I've calculated many ends. Call me Mr. Polyp. I've had many friends, mysterious when blending in with minus from Marrakech. Yeah, I got the spice, I'm holding on. Did it my way, old blue eye in space I'm folding on. Iron out the wrinkles in the time, my tesseract across the curtain rays. A phoenix wing Patronus cross my shoulder blades, a burn upon re-entry like a century to the centuries of re-explored. Ignoring lessons from before the score was feather dusted with a treble clef. Half budget timbers and my breath is left, a void of information like a second death, whirling like a dervish in a skirmish over physics laws and legacy, the shadow of a question, cough and let it be the answers to whatever's next, to tucked in corners, pages of whatever text is relevant, to resurrect whatever sect you choose to blow the ages off and let it step, the dusty dance of tempting fate, tippet linker ingots in position, take a look from the Olympus clouds of Mykonos, I hide the hand to keep it close, the glass roof and floor and shadows speak the most, I'm peeping ghosts of Cerberus and Ptolemy, a Grassing, and so give it space, mechanics of this magic is a give and take, laws of the equivalent exchange is not ambivalent, it's absolute. Keep your hands and handles on the door of truth and count and clock your clarity to close it up or open up surrendering. Life is less for living, more remembering the reason why you're back to visit. What you meant to feel again, it's that specific, then determine quantum leaps and pivots. Asking if it's finished, is it going to get you further faster from your furnace? And man, furnace up your fears and find your firmament. Or permanently disconnect NASA satellites inside a discotheque of Kubrick. What a rubric for the Emoteps. Activate the gate of stars. Less a wormhole and more a game of cards. I tell you not to press your luck, but you should really play your odds.
Let's go. Let's go.
Listen, I'm always a sucker for an applause button.
I like to let it linger. Hey, man. Woo. That was fire.
I knew where I was coming.
You're like, hey, I came correct.
I dressed for the occasion.
That's right, man. So, Jason, man, I'm so thankful for you coming through today.
Man.
I think it is long overdue. I feel like every conversation I have with you, I want it recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want it recorded. And so, you know, so I want you to first break down the what is the rhyme that we just heard.
Yeah.
And some of the things that stuck to your ribs and why you presented it today.
Man, I appreciate that as a question. That verse was something that I wrote as an exercise to see if I still cared about rhyming.
Okay.
And it was pulling from things I was reading, things I was revisiting and watching. And so it's everything from The Art of Worldly Wisdoms by Baltasar Gracian, which is like 500 years old. But then there's also like revisiting Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Uh-huh.
And everything in between, watching and getting into the philosophy behind films like Dune and, you know, Denis Villeneuve's take on that whole world of things, but then also getting into what does it mean to be a griot without an original origin where you came from. You just kind of appeared and just started absorbing all these stories and now you're synthesizing it. What does that look like? And will you be looked at as a crazy person or as the person that made something crazy make sense? And so all of those were things that I was thinking about. And a lot of this came to me just walking. Like many people see me around LA, like taking the train, walking, being on my bike, being on my motorcycle, and the time in my head, I'm working out. What do I care about enough to synthesize into a rhyme? You know what I mean? So it's that.
And like to remember.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like, because I have to now memorize this, so this better be good.
And that's the thing is that, you know, you hear, you know, Jay-Z just did the New York Times joint talking about his writing process. I was never the, I don't use a pen. Like, man, notebooks, BlackBerry, sidekicks, iPhones,
all of that.
a whole thing. But the practice of performing on stages and spoken word open mics and things was like, you can write it on whatever, but you have to have it memorized in time for your name to be called that next time.
For sure.
So me walking and cycling and being around, that's where I practice.
Right.
In my brain. So I'd either have it playing in the headphones, and there's this old mnemonic device from, I think, like 3rd grade. It was called RCRC.
Okay.
Read, cover, recite, check. That was my foundational rubric for memorization. But as a kid, I was memorizing like speeches from Frederick Douglass and Kennedy and Malcolm and Martin and everybody else.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to memorize things. And then that has played its way into my writing process and then the performing process.
Yes.
And so I'm sure you've had this happen where what you wrote and what you say don't always match the cadence, but sometimes what you say makes the written part make sense. You got to take some words out and this and that. So it's like the ear is the
is the best editor. That's Yusuf Komanyaka. Yeah.
It's
I
the
mean,
realest thing.
and you know who else used that was Audre Lorde.
Absolutely.
And towards the end of her life, she couldn't use her voice because of the cancer.
Oh, that's right.
And so she was like, that was the hardest part, was not being able to write the way that it was like she needed to hear it in the air to make sure that what's on the page is really what needs to be said and like what's gonna stick.
That's right.
So it's like that ear, you know what I mean? It's like because we can put something on the page and feel like it's fly all day, but it's like if it can't come through us and it doesn't feel true, then I don't know what that is. It may not be for me.
Or it may be you've adopted someone else's ideas as your identity.
Totally.
Versus you speaking it and being like, nope, this is me. This, like, you tried this on. This fits. Oh, this is about to be a time. I'm about to have a whole time here. This is hilarious.
So tell us about rewind. That's a concept, right? Because you spit some fire just now, and I'm like, tell us about the concept of rewind. What was that?
So I don't know where it originated. My experience with it was in open mics in Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, like in the Midwest, Chicago.
Yeah.
And so at spoken word open mics, I would go there to test out rhymes that I would then do in MC battles, just trying to see like if I'm controlling the attention of a crowd and engaging with them without any records, then of course you throw music behind it, we're good.
Yep.
And there would be this thing that would happen where if you said something fly, people were like, whoo, and whatever. But then if it was like really impacting, 1 to 3 people like, nah, rewind.
Yep.
And you had to know your piece so well to know what the stop point was. It's the equivalent of a DJ having contact points on a record.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like this is where you go back to when you're blending or whatever the case may
the
be.
cue point.
The cue point. Sorry, yes, I said contact point, cue point. But clearly I'm not a DJ. But the point being, if you fumbled on the rewind, people will be supportive, but just think about how that would kill the momentum.
But not
so
the
nobody
same,
wanted
though.
to be the one that didn't have it. So like those of us that would rehearse our pieces, there would be a part where we're like, I think this might be a part where I get a rewind. So I have to know, where do I go back in the piece to start that again? And then those that were really feeling it would be like, and now I'm going to say it with a lot more alliteration, and now it's the bouncing ball. And then you run into it and everything like that. So, you know what I mean? So like, but playing with words the same way that a cellist plays with the strings, you have to know the instrument, and the instrument isn't just your voice.
Inside and out.
100%. It's the piece. The piece is the instrument that you're playing. And the rewind sharpened. The recall is sharpened, the rehearsal is sharpened, the practice, because you knew that that was a potential to happen at any given time. Totally.
So I want to rewind and say that Dub Lab, what we are listening to right now, Dub Lab keeps me personally in community. It keeps me with an opportunity to bring people into the space. And so we're doing our membership drive.
All right.
And I just want to transition and this is an ad, but it's less of an ad, it's an invitation, right? And so I'm looking at, like, before we go any further, I want to invite all the listeners to become Dub Lab members today. And so there's 3 levels to that, right? So there's the level of $5. You're just like, hey, throw the homie a coffee. You know what I'm saying? One time a month. You just buy a DJ, sponsor a DJ. There are 200 DJs here doing work. And so the $15 level, right? So if you get that $15 level, then look, if you're trying to start a podcast, if you a DJ who needs space to just like practice your joints, get your cue points right, you know what I'm saying? Then you come through and you have access to Studio B to practice and record And you sign up, and then you get access to the Calendarly, and you can see who's doing their thing. The $25 level membership, that's like the real investment. You like the arts, you know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that you're good. So the support goes a long way, and you can tap in with us at dublab.com/support. And your support really does matter. This is algorithm free, powered by the people, and we are 100% listener supported. You know what I'm saying? So help us keep that signal strong. And another thing that I wanted to make sure of before we keep it moving is that on the 29th, I'm going to be hosting with VCR, the homie VCR, Be the Martian, the Dublab 2026 Salon. And Dublab turns 27. Is it 27? 27, yes.
Since 99.
Yeah, since 99 we've been doing it. So on May 29th, we're going to be at the Airliner, and I'll be giving out the first annual W Awards. And so the W Awards going to be given to a legend, two living legends actually, Ben Caldwell.
Oh, wow.
So Brother Ben, obviously the visionary of the Chaos Network in Leimert Park. And then also DJ Carey, who's been curating spaces for queer and women identified people at the Basement LA since the 90s. So these are two amazing folks that deserve their flowers. So definitely come through to the Airliner on the 29th from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So we rocking.
It's a party.
We rocking. It's a party. It's a party.
Pure.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I wanted to just plug real quick.
Shout out to that.
Yeah.
Removing a lot of my excuses for things.
We might have a BRS radio. Let's just say.
Accountability partner.
Hey,
you get it in this.
Oh yeah. Listen. So I want to get right into postcards. Okay. From the Edge.
Okay.
I want you to talk about that, and what is it about, and how did it come about?
This is the first time I've talked about this publicly.
Yeah.
And like on record.
Yeah.
So Postcards from the Edge, in and of itself, is me answering the question of why don't we have more science fiction rappers? Like just period, like just straightforward. Like I think about Lupe's The Cool. I think about I think about the American Gangster album. I think about De La with the artificial intelligence and the themes.
Love that series.
I think about Cuddy's Man on the Moon and Mr. Rage. Like I think about all these things, right? And there's I also go back to like the Cool Keiths of thing, right? You know what I'm saying? We think about Quasimodo, right? Like all of these characters, and like God, we're not even gonna get into Madlib and all of his different bands of things,
right?
But, you know what I'm saying? But like there were all of these conceptual things, and some of it felt character driven, but it was like Octavia Butler lived around hip hop. What if she had become Lady of Rage? What if she had become Medusa? What if she had become, you see what I'm
Shout
saying?
out Medusa.
Like, what would it have looked like for Parables of the Sower to have been an album? What would it have looked like for the movie Contact to have been an album? Like and I just wanted to have more of that. And the way that you describe me as Neil deGrasse Tyson a rap, I'll take that, because it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Gene Roddenberry, Octavia Butler, and insert anyone else that's written anything. But again, going back to me talking about Frank Herbert's Dune and seeing these things come up, is like, well, what does it look like to tell a story that we keep the story consistent, but I might be the central character of it? And so the story of Postcards from the Edge, it's the story of going across the universe when really you were just going deeper into yourself. That's the sticky tagline of it, right? How we get there, it's a lot of magical realism and near futurism, as my friend Schessa calls it. But like,
shout out Schessa.
These vignettes of each record are following a particular story of like someone that is going around and collecting all of these little talismans to be able to find this like kind of like unknowable, there's something on the other side of the veil, kind of like his Dark Materials or whatever, and then goes on this journey, and then comes back to it by the last vignette or the last record, and it's like, but did I leave? But did I not leave? But I'm definitely not who I was when I remember starting this particular thing. And it's all part of a larger tapestry. Like I've written treatments for like 5 different stories like this. So this is the first part of this universe, if you will. But what this means for an entry level listener is, if you enjoy listening to Good Kid, Mad City with the lights off and the headphones, this is for you. If you enjoyed listening to any of Tyler's albums with the headphones on, this is for you. If you enjoy listening to songs in the key of life with the headphones on, it's cinema you watch with your ears.
There you go.
And that's the hope. But
there
I
you
just
go.
wanted to add the science fiction side to it as opposed to the psychedelic or the other surreal. But just like, what does it look like to talk about these things?
Yeah, and to go that far,
and to be really rap with it.
Yeah, get into it. Get all the way into it.
And
it's not casual.
It's not
casual. That's the one thing I'll tell y'all. It's not casual.
We is me and all the people in my head.
There you go. Highly collaborative in there.
Wildly collaborative. Also, sometimes you just want to walk by and close the door. But I did a performance reading of it one time at the 14th Factory in 2017. That's how long I've been playing with the story.
Wow.
And what I did was I went into iBooks on my Mac at the time and just like used a template, put the lyrics in, and then was like, okay, now the lyrics need a story to pull them together. And so I wrote something that would be the equivalent of like a narration to describe the scene, because again, if you're listening to something, you're reading something, you wouldn't know what the setting is, right? Without any visuals. And so it was an invitation for people to come sit and listen. I would read, here's the narration to set the scene, but all of the verses, the iambic pentameter, the rhythmic rhyming part of it was to describe the emotion. So when it's very rapidly syncopated, it's like it's a heightened state of attention. When it's slower or more drawn out or more dramatic, it's meant to feel that way. And so using, like going back to the instrument part, using my delivery as a way of informing what to feel. Like what's the emotional color? And then that's the paintbrush that the delivery becomes then. And so to put this into a book, it made sense at the time. I didn't realize how inspiring this would become for certain people. Are like, damn, I never even thought about printing my lyrics, let alone telling a story with them. And so I think that my hope beyond anything with this project is that it invites a bit more audacity. And in an age where, regardless of how you feel about AI, whether you feel it's a benefit or a detriment, in the face of its reality, more and more things that we can put our hands on are just going to matter. They're going to feel more real. It's going to ground things.
We're going back to the tactical.
And so what does it look like to do? Yeah. So what does it look like to do that? And being led by that question has left me open to however many ways that can happen. It's not dialed into one particular, like I have a vision for how this rollout will be for this, but in that rollout, how people engage with it are going to inform different pivots from stop to stop, release to release, state to state, country to country. You know what I mean? And I'm really looking forward to. So how did you feel about this? Not, did you get this thing? Did you see it?
Yeah. What's the feeling?
What made you? What do you feel before you can articulate? That's what we want to get to.
Yeah. So how many forms is Postcards going to exist in?
So Postcards from the Edge, it's the audio experience, which is printing vinyl. There will be something that's stream adjacent, of course, because that's convenient for folks, but listening sessions in person. So there's the audio part. There's a short film. So you think, pick who you want, Beyonce, Lemonade, whatever the case may be, of these vignettes. So again, each song is a chapter, but all of them go together. So imagine something you'd watch on Nowness as a series of like 6 videos, right? The hope is from there, either the short film gets acquired by an institution or we just go on tour. And we go on tour and we do a live stage performance. So it's not just, I'm up there rapping. It's like, no, there's dance as almost like an opera or a ballet. where I'm off the side as a narrator, or maybe I'm not even the narrator, maybe I'm just the orator.
Yeah.
While there are people that are dancing, and I say might be because this is still developing, but it's meant to be a theatrical stage show with a full orchestra pit.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. And then from there, the takeaway is having an art book where the book is comprised of, here's one book of all the lyrics, here's one book of just the images, and here's one book of the sheet music.
There you go.
For those that may want to play around with it.
Interpolate.
Make something new out of it. Like take the source code and like rip it up, do whatever you want, sample it. Like that's the point.
Right.
To put it out there for it to be interpreted. So it's definitely through an audio channel, a visual channel, a performance channel, and a channel that you can hold in your hand, like being able to have the book. And it sounds ambitious, but to me it's just intricate.
Yeah.
It's tedious.
Well, I mean,
it's
it's also how you want to engage.
1000%.
Right? Like
1000%.
it's like you want to engage as deeply as you can with something that you love. So give people the opportunity to do that.
So without going too deep on a tangent, anybody's ever listened to me talk about this, what happens after the album rollout? Like,
oh my God. I think that's the biggest question mark for any artist.
It's such a cool thing. It's like you do this thing, and I even think about this with films.
Yeah.
So films and music, it's this huge buildup.
Mm-hmm.
You do, for films, you do all these press junkets for, the old school way of things, which we saw Clips do recently.
Right.
Was like
only legacy acts get that though.
But there's also younger acts that are doing that too. And
Yeah.
there's also K-pop acts that are doing that too. There's definitely a lot of international acts that's still the only way to get through it because
Right.
of, state sanctions and all that stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, you do all these series of interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put together this amazing project. It gets released.
Mm-hmm.
There's a release date. There's vignettes, and then there's talkbacks, and people do stuff on the internet. And then a year later, what?
Yeah.
Like where? And it's not like where did it go?
Mm-hmm.
It's where's the system for revisiting work? And I think that I'm gonna go on record and say this. I think Nas figured it out. I've watched Nas approach hip hop like the jazz musician his father was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep making records, whether y'all buy them or not. It's a practice.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna revisit my old material because jazz standards are jazz standards, and it's a rite of passage for everybody.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, I think about the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Uh-huh.
One of the coolest examples of something having a life across multiple generations.
For sure.
Pink Floyd's The Wall. Similar thing. There's a film, but it's not like to the Rocky Horror level where like people dress up.
Right.
And there's film houses screening it around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And revisiting this material all the time. Even with comic books, they get revisited at Comic-Cons. But like, what does that look like for us? I think there are some people that have figured some things out, right? Like,
for sure.
Like shout out Kilo Quiche with the American Girl film that she did, and then doing the stuff at MOCA, and then I don't know if it got acquired, but at the same time, like that would be a dope thing because it gets rescreened to an audience. I think of The Visitors, which is that piece. I'm forgetting the guy's name that did it. I think it's like a Nordish or Swedish guy. I'm probably getting this wrong. I'm sorry, but like he filmed in this house, this band, and every member of the band was in a different room of the house, and so every screen represents.
I haven't
them
seen
playing.
that.
It's incredible.
The Visitors.
It's on multiple screens.
Wow.
It's great. And these are the things that I think about. And so when you say I'm making something in the format that I want to engage with it, if I intellectually engage with the work, I want to engage with it forever.
Yeah.
I want to come back to it. I don't want somebody to trust my raggedy memories of it. I want you to come and have your own brand new polished memories of it.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to care about my old Jordans.
Right.
But you might care about yours that you played in if you never saw Jordan play.
Yeah.
So what does it look like to have a space where someone can come with their nostalgic experience of a body of work, and someone else can come all the way brand new, and the work lives for 15 to 20 years?
So here's the question I have with all of those considerations.
Yeah.
How do you give yourself the permission to and this is just a question for artists, like, but I think with the kind of vision that you have, I think you'd have a valuable answer, is how do you know something is important enough to put all of this world building around it? Like, what is the key ingredient for you to know that you have something that is worth that?
Annoyance. It sounds crazy, but follow me down there.
Yeah.
The idea has to stalk you. I've sat on this idea for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It never went away. Then it started haunting me. If you haven't made work that haunts you more than a year later, then maybe the work only had a year shelf span. And maybe everything that made it successful is everything that makes it detrimental to a long life. You hit all of the trend marks because that was the thing that would get you paid. And now you're out of whatever financial situation you were in. Now you're out of whatever obscurity you were in.
Yeah.
And now you have no idea which direction to go.
Right.
So that's the first thing.
Uh-huh.
The second thing is the annoyance of, is there something on your spirit that you talk about incessantly to the point where you annoy your friends? Or like, would you just make the thing? Because I'm so tired of hearing you talk. I am not your thought partner. This was supposed to be ramen. But I think that's another
You can't
part
put
of
it down.
Right. And so annoyance is a way of saying acknowledgement of a gift, acknowledgement of a story. There used to be a thing where people didn't call you a genius. They said you had a genius, and a genius visited you. And you were the door that genius was trying to come out through. If you play around on it and it wasn't aligned for you, you just happen to be affiliated, then it'll go and come out through the door of whatever's closest to you. And if whatever's closest to you is somebody you're annoyed by, you were not a steward of that story. And so it came out however it could. But when something is yours, it will not leave you alone. And so the idea of arriving to how do you give yourself permission is predicated on the idea that it was ever your choice to make in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something has to haunt you before you need to exercise it.
Yeah.
X-er and X-or.
Yes. And I want to talk about the ability to exercise those things, also creating systems for those things to exist within. And so that brings us to BRS, right? So you're the founder and the director.
That was really good. That was really
I
good.
I received
real time. That was great. That was Stephen Colbert. That was great.
Love. So as the founder and director of the Burntsienna Society, what exactly, I know that you've ran this idea of postcards from the edge through that system,
100%.
right? And so if you needed to talk to people about what that system is, what is the Burntsienna Society?
Yeah.
And how is that valuable to you as an artist?
So it's interesting. You would think that they're separate things, but it's all the same thing. Like the bottom line is hip hop taught me everything about the way that I look at the world. Do the knowledge, respect your elders, cite your sources, each one teach one, right? So doing the knowledge and knowing what came before you and understanding the context of it wasn't just useful for identifying, oh, I know the sample from the song, which shout out to my big homie DJ Top Speed back in Indianapolis, who would always run up by me like, you know what the sample is?
Right.
But you
gotta have those homies.
It was
though.
like it was participating in hip hop in Indianapolis, Indiana was like, we took it so seriously. We took it more seriously than most people because we weren't adjacent to the coast. Right. And so it was almost like a fraternity hazing to be able to participate in the local MC battles. Like you would get quizzed on things in this really intense way, but that built my foundation. And so because of that, it became easy for me to transition into management and being a buyer, because when I was working in retail, I was really just working so I had fly shit to wear on stage. And my mother was like, we can't afford that. You got to get a job. I was like, you know what? You're right. And
they got a discount on.
And they were playing hip hop, and we were selling the source in the store. You know what I'm saying? So it was like participating in the culture kept me aware of the cultural relevancy and the cultural reverence You could tell if somebody was coming in there posing. You see what I'm saying? Versus somebody that came from another part of town or another city or from the suburbs and was like, nah, but like I actually care about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, going through being a buyer, going through being a consultant, going through ending up being an educator, once I got to the education side, I was asked, what is your rubric? Because a rubric was understanding what were the steps that you were taking on accident that someone else could attempt on purpose. And I had to write it down. And that's when I realized that sometimes flying by the seat of your pants is not helpful if nobody can follow you. You're not preparing people for your absence. You're not preparing people for your passing. You're not preparing people for any way of them seeing a pathway out that doesn't have to be yours, but here are some of the rungs on the ladder. Think about like the story they told in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, this is how you get out of the thing. It's like, oh, sorry, we left out this part. They did it without a rope. Like, you see what I'm saying? And so that rubric came from when I pivoted from being a consultant to founding Burntsienna Research Society. It was strictly because I saw too many clothing lines being made and rushed to market without slowing down the research process and preserving the culture. And preserving culture has always been at the core of hip hop.
Right.
And then tangentially punk and also tangentially just Midwestern values. But like, who's your family? What's your story?
Right.
Why are you erasing that to sell something? And so I wrote down in the same vein as there's an industrial designer named Dieter Rams who wrote the 10 Principles of Good Design. Wasn't saying this was a rule. He was just asked a question. How do you know when something is good? What is your reference point for it? And he came with these 10 things. So I was like, well, what's my version of that? And I went through every annoying client brief that I ever experienced and was like, what would I wish that they knew? And it became this series of questions, like unpacking the history of everything and honoring the process and looking at the context of when it was done. What was the intention behind this? What were some of the parallels that were there? What standards existed, and can you question those? Can you allow for interpretation? And then once you've allowed for that interpretation, how do you advance the thing responsibly? That's the rubric of 8. And it started as a list, but then it became a loop. It's like it always comes back to do the knowledge on the history. And so,
did the knowledge.
See what you did. But with that being said, the only way to know if a system works is to apply it to something that you're way too close to. I can't advocate for a system that I haven't tried. And I wouldn't invite anyone into something that I don't at least have a case study of a success or failure. And that's just me being accountable, responsible. Just, you know what I mean? Like, that's just part of me. And so when I thought about, I know what this story is. I think the bars are great because I worked really hard on them. Not because of an ego, but like, no, I put in this work. This shit's fire. Like, come for me for whatever. You can hate the font. Whatever.
You can hate the font.
The bars are great.
Exactly.
Also, the font's a petty thing. But I didn't realize what was getting me caught up in explaining it was I didn't realize that this thing I thought was one thing was 4.
Right.
As far as rollout, as far as tangibility. And it wasn't until I got to the point of what are some of the parallels? What are some things that are similar to this? And I was like, oh, well, it's kind of like this. And I was like, no, those are 4 different mediums, but they're not fighting with each other.
Right.
I laid all of my cards one on top of the other thinking I had one thing. But when you spread them out, it's 4, and each of those 4 has 17 things that need to be done.
Right.
But once I was able to stretch everything out on that rubric, oh, well, now we turn a cotton into thread and thread into clothes. Right. But now I have these steps that I can invite people in. This is what I need help with. This is what I need help with. Are you good at this thing? And it's the equivalent to, think of whoever's the person in your family that does like big holiday cooking. If all the recipes are in their head and you ask them how to help, they're going to say, get out the kitchen, because it's easier to just do the thing than it is to explain it. But if you wrote down the recipe And then you take it out and you look at it, but you kind of know where you're at with it. But if someone else comes in, it's like, how can I help? It's like, oh, I'm at step 4, but I'll be at step 7 in a second. So if you can do these 2 things, this is where I'm at in the process.
Right.
Burntsienna Research Society and the Burntsienna Standards are all just about a rubric of how do you understand your own process when it comes to researching anything with cultural relevance.
Right.
So that you can be reverent and respectful to the process. That's it.
Yeah.
I said a lot,
Yeah.
but I said that.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like that's
Hot
what it
keys
is.
will always
That's
have
what
a
it
home
is.
in my heart.
That's what it is. So, are you okay with sharing what the Burntsienna standards are?
Mm-hmm.
Are you open to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, hit it. I want to make sure that the audio is on this, but
Oh, yeah,
continue.
go ahead. I just kind of freestyled them. But again, what did we just talk about? I wrote them down so I would not have to remember them because like it's important to have that, but it's also, it is on our website. So if you just go to burntsienna.org/standards, it'll be there. But it's, the first one is unpack history. Second one is consider parallels. The third is to honor the process, what is required for this to come about. Find the intention behind either why you're doing it or why something else was done. Notice the context, whether it's the time, the location, what's going on socially, whether you're referencing something previously or not, but notice the context. And then question the standards. Do you know what the existing rules or defaults or fears or whatever? This is where we get into the how do you give yourself permission part.
Yep.
What are the standards? All right, cool. If this was what someone else said the standard is, why is that the standard? Why does it matter? Does that apply here? That's the thing. Like questioning those standards is kind of the thing of like, don't believe everything you believe. Like just question it.
Right.
But once you've done those questions, can you allow for an interpretation of things as opposed to, oh no, this is my identity? Can you separate and change things and question things? And then once you can allow for an interpretation, how do you advance that interpretation responsibly? And it's always about including anyone from whatever story that you are pulling a reference from. Those 8 steps are the Burntsienna standards. So again, just to run through them, it's starting with unpacking history, considering parallels, honoring process, finding intention, noticing context, questioning standards, allowing interpretation, and advancing responsibly.
There it is. There it is. Bars.
There it is.
Listen.
Big bars.
So who's in the current cohort? And tell us, like, you know, in advance, there's like, is there a summer cohort?
Oh, yeah. So the current cohort is very beautiful because it feels like a continuation of the winter cohort that happened earlier this year. Whereas everyone that's involved in one way or another has a very specific tie to South LA. And that was not on purpose. It just happened. And it also just so happened that every member of this cohort is Black.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most diverse set of Black experiences that I've had in one room. Across spectrums, across ages, across generations. Like we're going from like late 20s to close to me and knocking on 50. And there's so much difference in everyone's perspective. But what happens within the Burntsienna calibrations is, have you forgotten your story? And if you have, how do we use these steps to resurface it and make sure that that story and those fingerprints show up in every single thing that you do? And to me, it's the business equivalent of writing a song or spoken word piece. You're looking for, what's the information? Where is it coming from? How do we synthesize this? And how does this couplet go into this to create something where there's a style?
Right.
And you can tell the style when you see it, when you hear it.
Right.
It's palpable. It's sticky. It stays with you. I will consistently cite hip hop, mainly because most people forget to cite hip hop. They're like, oh no, New York in the 90s. No, hip hop.
Yeah. Say it.
The
Say
tenets
it.
of hip hop
Right.
specifically.
Right.
Like, and we're talking, the KRS-Ones, the Bambadas, like Zulu, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to the 5% Nation too.
For sure.
Like all of
that's
that
in
was
everything.
sprinkled in. It's in
that's
all of
that's
that, but-
those are the tenets of knowledge,
100%,
right? Like
but
it's
hearing that through hip hop,
right.
and hip hop being the rubric to explore those things, it is no different than helping someone go down their own memory lane and find out where they maybe censored themselves
Mm.
in order to make a profit, or they made a pivot and had a little bit of mission drift because they were just trying to make payroll.
Mission drift. I like that.
Yeah, like you were focusing towards your mission. This is the mission, and then
Yeah, little driftwood.
or we
Yeah.
stayed over here. Like you read The Alchemist. Like, oh nope, spent too much time at the crystal shop, and now
Yeah.
this was a good life, but it wasn't mine.
Right.
I got to get back to what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
How do we get people back on their path,
Specifically.
as opposed to letting people show how well they perfected somebody else's? How do we get you back to yours? Because this ain't what your ancestors died for.
Right.
What are we doing?
It's the whole thing. And so I think that also tapers off into the next question that I have, which is who taught you to teach? Well, who is the teacher that taught you to teach? And I hear hip hop being a teacher in your life.
Yeah.
But is
I
there
had some
a specific?
really- Yeah, I had some good big homies that would teach me things, but I think that I think my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
she was a professor of nursing at Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
She passed when I was 16. My grandpa, who passed last year, who's a Olympic gold medalist,
Wow.
but also was a dentist my whole ass life. Like was a dentist longer than I've been alive,
Wow.
and was forced into retirement during COVID. And like the running joke now is that he only died last year because he was bored.
You hear that,
Like
though.
for real, like he
Yeah.
had something to do, but his way of living, his name is Greg Bell,
Uh-huh.
Gregory Curtis Bell. That's where the Curtis in my middle name comes
Okay.
from. He would teach me how to share experiences without sharing the trauma.
Mm.
That was really important to me. It
Mhm.
was, instead of telling someone, this is why you have to do this way, because if you don't, blah, 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 which is coming from whatever your experience was, which is,
Right.
hey, so I had some issues with this. This is a system I found that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Your results may vary. Tell me how it works for you.
Totally.
I will model this for you, and then do whatever you need to do
Mhm.
from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the showing part is where I learned how to make that gap between knowing and doing. Same thing with, he was a writer as well.
Mhm.
Poet, wrote essays, public speaking, like all of these things. Also, I remember someone told me a story that he used to, for a short period of time, taught dentistry at Howard.
Wow.
I don't, like, bro,
Hey.
all these things. But like the bottom line is, he would always make sure that whenever I wrote something,
Mm-hmm.
that I was adding my experience in,
Mm-hmm.
not just quoting things that sounded official or assured, but
Yeah.
to humanize it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I'll never forget this, in my teenage years, he was like, listen, I've overheard you talking to your friends. I'm not trying to be in your business. Profanity is like hot sauce. If you use too much, you lose the flavor of the dish. He didn't tell me don't curse.
Right.
He would just give me these examples, and he would speak in metaphors, which
Mm-hmm.
anyone that's been socialized in any form of American Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
especially Southern Baptist,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of metaphors.
Oh, for sure.
But also
The parables.
Yeah, but every book of religious practice is filled with metaphor because, for one, how else do you describe something that's hard to describe?
Right.
You got to parallel it to something. But for
Mhm.
two, it becomes something that at its core
Mm-hmm.
is simple. But the more you spend time with it, it becomes more complex. And my grandpa was a master at that. And I
Mhm.
think that through that process, I found, oh, this thing that people are enjoying called hip hop, I'm accidentally good at it because my grandpa taught me how to think in metaphors.
Right.
And that taught me how to teach passing knowledge
Mm-hmm.
through metaphors
Yep.
in something compact, so I'm not talking you to death.
Right. Or
Because we only got so much time.
it also becomes stickier
100%.
because now this metaphor is applicable to your life.
Mhm.
And there was I think the metaphor of the baton. You were
Yeah.
talking about building the baton.
Oh, yeah.
Go into that.
And it's like, first of all, how do you understand that you are not running a solo race?
Uh-huh.
Everything in entrepreneurship is a team sport. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. But it doesn't mean it's a team sport like soccer or basketball or whatever. It's a team sport like a relay.
Right.
And the relay could be to other people on your team. The relay could be to the people that care about supporting you. Or the relay could be generational. What you pass on is the baton so the race can keep going.
Right.
If you haven't built a baton to pass, you are not going to last the race. How do you pass it on? And this is where I absolutely have to cite another very influential thinker, which is Ouija Theodore of the Brooklyn Circus. Introduced me to the concept of the 100-year plan. And very typical wisdom that's annoying manner, he had a journal that said the 100-year plan. I was like, what is that? He was like, what does it mean to you? I'm like,
here we go.
But that question to me was just, if I'm thinking of a 100-year plan, that means that I'm building something that's meant to outlive me.
From jump.
That was a different type of ego death.
Right.
Very different type. I think that myself, and I cannot believe that I'm alone in feeling that I wanted to do something that I'd see the result of while I'm alive. And there's some things that I will.
For sure.
But that won't drive you after you've achieved them.
Right.
If you don't have something that will outlive you, something, and we're not talking about kids. We're not talking about legacy. Like, yes, I say it the way that I said what I said in italics because some of y'all wildin'. But when we talk about the difference between leaving a legacy and passing a baton, sometimes that baton may not pass to a family member.
Right.
But it will pass to someone that cares about that baton.
Right.
But like the recipe book, if it's not assembled
Mm-hmm.
in a way that could be handed off and still have your fingerprints on it, how can anybody keep it going?
Right.
That's what keeps me up.
Yep.
And in a good way. Like, I think about this a lot of, like, is what I'm doing matter because blah, 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 blah. But then I remember my initial intention for doing things is hinged on one errant thing that I said once when someone was like, what do you do? I was like, you know what? I believe in people for a living.
Mm.
So if I believe in people for a living and we don't see everyone's interior country,
Right.
then I may never see the impact. But it doesn't mean it's not impactful because I see it in the eyes of anybody that's been in any of my classes.
1,000.
That's ever had coffee with me. Anyone that I've had the good fortune to see
Mm-hmm.
and
Fully.
then speak what I see, that matters. And if I don't see it, but I hear about it and I feel it, and I have to trust it. And that's where trusting the gift, trusting where you are, and knowing the time it takes is the time it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have a baton to pass, it will end with you.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make sure that the idea doesn't die with you? That's where I'm at.
Right. Right. And I mean, we all need those systems to be able to build the baton.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the work that you're doing with BRS and the work that you've been doing with your own craft and how I think the practice of being an educator also gives you a built-in way of being able to be affected by others, because
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Because you're facilitating a breakthrough, right? But then you're hearing all these different,
No, that's
a trip.
That's actually very real. That's a very real, and you know this from teaching as well. But it's like, my experience is not as valuable as hearing everyone else's interpretation. Oh my God.
It becomes that big. It becomes this, like, it's a conversation, you know.
For sure.
It's the call and response. It's classic.
Yeah.
I want to know about, tell me about the time you turned down $9 million. I need that. I need that story.
Oh man!
And we can edit this out if you don't want that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So, the shortest version of everything, $9 million is a very real number that my bank account was negative. The amount that we were being offered for our second deal was less than that. But I don't think that the amount matters. But it wasn't considerably less than that. You know what I'm saying? It was, the potential was there. But I was in a group, and we had an initial deal. And these are like people that like I grew incredibly close to. We spent every waking hour together. This was my extended family. This was the family that I always wanted to have. It was like having a bunch of reference humble cousins. And the first deal we had was your traditional, really shitty single deal. That in hindsight, I think that the label saw the popularity of certain soul samples at a specific time. We had sampled this Ray Charles joint around the same time as Ray coming out and Kanye's Gold Digger and all this other stuff. And I don't think that they knew what to do with us. And they
like most labels.
But they signed us so that no one else could get it.
Right.
And it was a chess move for them. We didn't know that. We were reading, you know, Donald Passman's Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business. Thinking we knew everything we need to know about the music business, whatever. But the funny thing about that is the very first chapter of that book is group breakups. And I found myself, we started off making records that felt good. But around this time, we're talking like 2006. My homeboy, I was in a group with at the start of everything. He was just like, this is my third go round. I really need this to pop. Yeah. And so we started making all these ringtone records and snap music, and I was like, absolutely not. Like, do you know where I come from? Like, a battle MC, they will eviscerate me. Absolutely not. I'm not going to give them ammunition. No, absolutely not. But also, so many other things were happening. My daughter had just been born. I was having not a crisis of conscience, but I was in a maelstrom of maturation. I was just not impressed by things that used to impress me. I was outgrowing a lot of systems. I was healing myself because I knew my daughter was coming. I was like, I need to get my mind together because I don't want her seeing.
It's a whole nother human being.
And so all of those things, I talked to my grandfather, and he said, I forget where this quote is from, but it's like, what does it mean to gain the world and lose your soul? And he said, I want you to imagine that if you stay with this group and you sign this deal, the money will fix whatever short-term issue you're having, but it won't change long-term habits. Right. But if you try to leave after you sign this thing, they will kill you. Because now you're messing with people's lives and family and stuff like that. And I realized if I've come this close and it's being offered to me now, it'll be offered again. But if I stay here, I'll be locked into something I don't believe in. Right.
Like, you know what this is. Right. You know the shape of this.
I found out what my character was actually about, my integrity was actually about. I was like, no shade to my guys. And we definitely had some years where we didn't talk. Y'all are barbers and DJs. Y'all are going to have whatever lifestyle you have. I will go work a job.
Yeah. Offer it.
And I'm still going to be the nicest MC in 600 miles. Fine. I also come from a place where there's a lot of nice MCs working at Carrier. Like, for sure. Because life is real. Right. But walking away from that showed me that I cared about hip-hop. Like Kendrick level cared. Like Andre 3000 level care of artistry. And freedom. And it haunted me for some years. Of course. But it is one of the most discerning examples I have of how I'm built. Because if you get that close to something you thought you wanted, and then you realize the money wasn't going to change whatever habits you have or haven't changed, then the money doesn't matter.
Right.
Because if you can change the habits, you can get out of a bad financial situation.
For sure.
You can change the thinking, you can get out of a certain circumstance or whatever. So if the money was the only thing, you take that away, would you still enjoy doing the thing? But that took a lot. Like, bro, I'm 26. I'm about to have a kid. I got wild debt. All this, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the thing that makes this crazy is it was a year after I'd walked away from the deal. Didn't go on the west side for a while, which I was known on the west side. Worked in the mall on the west side of Indianapolis. And it was like, it was hard. It was really, really hard. But not as hard as I was working as a substitute teacher. A friend had offered to hire me to do some work and wrote me a check and deposited it in my account through a branch in Chicago. I don't know what happened to this day. They did some forensic accounting and they think what happened was just when the check went through, all of the numbers didn't scan. But what happens is the way that they flag something like that is they shift your account negative by some crazy number so that there's nothing that can be done. And so the day that I'm walking into a Chase branch on Monument Circle in Indianapolis, Indiana to pay child support, to stay out of jail, my bank account balance was negative $9,800,073.22. And I thought I was being punished because I internalized all of the doubt that everybody projected onto me.
Right.
This is the second time that I found out what I was made of. I took that balance. I almost broke down in the bank, but I took that balance receipt and walked in the courtroom and was like,
"There you go."
And the judge was like,
"Well,
I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
We gonna give you another 30 days to figure your life out." Cool.
Yeah.
And everything worked itself out. But I faced this incredible high and stepped away from it because it was a high for somebody else. That was not my story.
Right.
And then faced an incredible low that was very close to what that high was and thought I was being punished and still stood in that.
Right.
What are you going to threaten me with from now on? And what are you going to try to leverage me with from now on? Because you can't use money.
No.
And you can't shame me.
Right.
And just to keep it real, unless you were wildly working out and you doing capoeira and stuff like that, you can't whoop me. So now that we've established these foregone conclusions, let's have coffee and chill. Because why have enemies when you can have friends?
True indeed.
There's nothing you can hold over me now. And I've faced every fear that I've ever had. I've been operating in that state of freedom. Not the freedom that I can do anything, but the freedom that I can recover from anything. So I don't need permission to do anything. Because what are you going to do? Right. What's going to happen?
We know what that is. We know, like,
and I've done the whole living in my car thing too. So like what are you gonna do? The only thing left is joy. The only thing left is delight in the littlest thing. That's why you'll see me walking on some wild shit and just stop and like look at a caterpillar.
Got to.
Because we're here.
You got to.
We are here. We get to be here. I refuse to take this life for granted if I'm meant to leave something behind. If I'm meant to propel something forward, I got to pay attention to everything. I have to, because all of it has to go in the baton. It all has to go in the baton. So that's the story.